Hello, everyone. What is going on? James here, and welcome back to the Banterous Hour. And with me, for the first time on the Banterous Hour, Mr. Scott.
Hello. How are we? It is good to be here at the Bants.
Yeah, man. I don't know if anyone who watches this back, or I don't think anyone's watching live right now, but anyone who watches this back, Scott has been on a fair few podcasts on my old podcast, the ALP podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
I was on the old podcast before things occurred.
yeah, before it was unfortunately terminated. But that's how things go, you know. I guess I could give an update on what I'm doing with the old channel or what I'm trying to do. I do have an archive. Well, I've archived a lot of the podcasts, and hopefully I can get them uploaded to an archive channel once the ALP channel actually gets terminated. Then I'll start uploading them to an archive channel. I think I've got about definitely over 100 episodes archived, so it should be all right. Got all the best ones, best moments in there.
Yeah.
But today we are here to talk about two classic films, two films that unfortunately didn't have the financial success or the film critic success
Yep.
that they deserve.
Just gonna rip the band-aid off now. The two of them deserved way more than they got.
For sure. I mean,
well, let's discuss that more in a moment.
as a kid, I thought Atlantis, The Lost Empire, was pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it an awful lot.
Yeah.
It did. I think it did okay financially, but the reviews wise, it wasn't given many good reviews in comparison to the Disney films, which is just.
They're looking at reviews nowadays. I think people are starting to wake up that the critics may not be the most in touch.
Yeah, the thing is, it's a difficult one, right? Because I've got an interesting story about this. In college, I made a pretty good film that a lot of the people who were doing the media/film course thought was pretty good. But all the teachers weren't really that bothered because they were a bit more film criticky, if that makes sense. They were a bit more. They were looking at it like a critic rather than just looking at it as like a fun, entertaining student film.
Which I guess they have to if it's their job as a teacher. But yeah.
But my point is, like, the majority of people enjoyed it, while the teachers were like, not really, didn't really enjoy that much. I guess with that sort of logic, I was trying to make a student film that I'd enjoy and that, I don't know, people who I thought were film people would enjoy. But there you go. It is what it is. At the end of the day, the critics aren't going to enjoy it. But I think if you can come up with reasons why something was good and articulate them well, it's worth saying. And there have been a lot of videos saying good stuff about Atlantis. But you know what? Let's throw our hats in the ring and put our case forward as to why Atlantis is pretty good, and also Treasure Planet. I'm looking at it now.
We're going for a world title over here.
Yeah, 186.1 million, and it was a 90 to 120 million dollar budget. I don't think that's too bad. They made okay money on it. It's just a bit disappointing that it wasn't as big
for the amount they put in. I think they were expecting more.
Yeah, and I suppose that happens a lot in life. You put massive effort into a video or anything, and it might not get the attention it deserves, unfortunately. But that doesn't take anything away from the quality of that video or film or product, you know.
I mean, there's a number of like movies that have a cult following now, but when they came out, didn't do super great.
Yeah, that's true. And to be honest, the long run's what you should really go for. Like, look at Michael Bay, for example. All of his films make loads of money, man. But like, is anyone talking about the Transformers films now? No. Is anyone talking?
The main thing I hear about Michael Bay movies is people shitting on his usual like stereotype stuff of like explosions everywhere, just mass amounts of CGI and lens flares.
Yeah, madness. You know, people aren't talking about the Abomination, TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, bloody CGI.
I think that's for the better. Not talking about that one.
So,
which is a shame because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's a lot you could do with that, and he somehow messed it up.
Yeah, mind you, though, looking at Michael Bay's films, there's Armageddon, which I've wanted to watch for a while. I don't know if you've watched that one with Bruce Willis.
I have not.
Yeah, I've wanted to watch that one for a while. What's the other one? Bad Boys. I've heard that's okay. Probably skip that one though.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly it's just like Transformers and all that crap. And I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is just because it has a load of money, just because it's successful financially, doesn't mean it's that good. You know?
I mean, look at the James Cameron Avatar movies. They're pretty, but there's not actually a huge amount of substance there outside of visuals.
Yeah, exactly.
Stories. The stories of the movies are effectively just humanity, bad nature, good.
Yeah,
and the sequel basically repeats that message. In
Yeah,
fact, the second one is literally just the first movie over again, including the same villain.
I haven't. Oh, I thought he bloody died. The same villain. That's crazy.
I didn't realize you hadn't seen it yet.
No, I'm not bothered about spoilers. I'm not bothered about the film. To be honest
okay, brief spoiler for Avatar 2 if anyone hasn't seen that yet or cares to watch it. Basically, the main villain's body is reincarnated into a Navi, the blue cat people. And he basically just resumes his role as the villain.
That's pretty daft.
Yeah, so it's literally even the same villain again. It just rehashes the message of the first movie all over again.
I can't believe how many they're going to make, though, man. I bet James Cameron's laughing, bro. He's probably absolutely laughing his ass off. To be fair,
the only reason James Cameron's Avatar has held the top spot for as long as it did before Endgame is because they keep re-releasing it in cinemas for another run.
Yeah.
It's like every couple of years, Avatar has to have another run in cinemas to keep its spot.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
But anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah. So I'll just say one last thing about him. He has made some pretty alright films, Aliens, Terminator 2.
Oh yeah, no, there are some good movies out. I'm just saying Avatar itself doesn't have a huge amount of substance.
Oh crap, Point Break's
outside of visuals.
Point Break's on Prime. I need to watch that one. Anyway, nice. Yeah, we're getting off topic. Let's get into Atlantis then. Yep. So the film starts off with I think a Plato quote or something about Atlantis.
Oh, the Lost City.
And then you hear some Atlanteans saying, in their language, Atlantean, "You fool! You fool! What have you done? You've doomed us all!"
Yeah.
And then,
so that really shows the era of Disney. They open the film with a fucking genocide occurring.
Yeah. Tragic.
And really shows the era of Disney. Modern day Disney would not try that shit now.
Yeah, true. You can't imagine Moana bloody starting with a big wave killing everyone in Hawaii or wherever they are. That'd just be that wouldn't go over very well, would it?
Nope.
But this big wave flies over and Kida's mom rolls up and she has to take her place as the sacrifice for Atlantis or whatever to protect the city.
Yeah, to become the crystal, yeah.
That's it, yeah, the power source. But yeah, it's crazy. The Atlanteans were getting very, very far ahead, but then because they messed with some weapon or whatever, or tried to experiment with some bomb, everything just got completely flooded. Which is quite a shame. And then you see how the king goes blind because he's having one last look at his wife, while she becomes the power source of the city. And then we fast forward to the modern day, where Milo's giving the main character Milo Thatch is giving this talk about Atlantis and how he wants to get an expedition going, and straight away you see that he's just a bit of a goofy, funny lad. I think he ends up getting some of his the Atlantis map on his t-shirt, and he's asking about oh yes, and goofing and rolling over and all that crap. He
also kind of gets screwed over by the guys he was going to do the presenting to, but the fact they moved it forward an hour and then cancelled it.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah. Oh no, I think they moved it. Yeah. They moved it.
I think it was 5 minutes before he was about to go do the presentation, and he got notification. Oh, we've moved it forward an hour, and then due to you not showing up, it's you can tell he's done the speech with them before that they were just done with it. And it's we have to hear about Atlantis again. I swear to God.
And it's interesting how we start off with the genocide of the Atlanteans getting killed by the wave, to the waves to a bunch of fat old men going jumping all over the place. Oh, no!
Yeah.
Go away, quick, get away from him. And all this madness.
Yeah, the usual stuff.
Yeah. And it's interesting how the film, a lot of the time is serious, but also can be just pistol mental, typical kid stuff, because I guess they're trying to get the Disney executives to like it, so it will appeal to the kids, but they also want the adult fans to come in and enjoy the film.
Yeah. It's the duality. Like, you need to have the stuff in there for kids to enjoy it, but at the same time, if you go too hard on the kids stuff, the movie doesn't get staying power.
Yeah.
Because kids are easy to entertain. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And if
Yeah.
that's all your movie has going for it, you're not going to get remembered very fondly.
Yeah, not in the long run. I mean, a lot of kids enjoy Jar Jar Binks. Where's the Phantom Menace now? It just is a bit of a daft odd film. I mean, some people get a good laugh out of it.
A lot of kids enjoy Jar Jar Binks, but if you talk to any adults or people who have grown up now, who grew up with Jar Jar Binks, they all like audibly groan when they hear his name.
Yeah. I mean, if I was some big film buff and I didn't like all these like fantasy and sci-fi films, I probably would laugh and just think, "Oh, what a load of stupidness." But as a fan of Star Wars, it is quite tragic, really.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame. But yeah, so basically, what's his name? The bloke's telling him Atlantis is a load of rubbish. We don't want to fund any of your expeditions. We only fund things based on fact. You got a lot of potential, Milo. You can go from, you can make it somewhere. And it's like, what? Within their museum, what, he's going to go from bloody, I don't know, boiler man to picking up shit off the road. What's going on there? What's he on about?
Yeah.
You want to go on an expedition? Here, take the trolley to the Potomac and jump in. Maybe the cold water will clear your head. Heinz.
Yeah.
Heinz. And then he drives off, and then you're like feeling bad for Milo. Then he goes home, and he's a single dude with his cat. And then Helga comes in, this new character, and she's like, oh, she's a little bit, I don't know, she's trying to be sexy, but it comes across as a little bit, I don't know, it comes across as a bit odd, really.
Yeah.
She's an alright character, though. She gets better as the film goes on.
Yeah. You find that's the case of most of these characters. As the film goes, they get better.
Yeah, for sure. And then she's hyped, so basically she says, oh, come to this meeting then. And she's hyping the bloke, the rich man who's going to, well, we don't know at the time, but basically ends up funding the expedition. She's like, oh, if you want to sell this idea to Mr. Whitmore, he's quite an angry guy, you have
I
to
do like that
Mr.
Whitmore was already planning to finance the expedition. He just wanted to make sure Milo was committed first.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like that.
Mm-hmm. But it's weird how she hypes him up as some evil, horrid guy. Well, some hard man who's very strict.
I would say she was hyping up to be like some evil horror. I think she just hyped up to be really eccentric.
Yeah, maybe. But she's like, keep your sentences short and to the point. Are we clear? Don't be seated unless you're asked, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that.
But and saying he doesn't bite often, and then he ends up just being a good laugh. Laugh. Which, if he's mates with Milo's granddad, it makes sense. It would have been a bit weird if he was like some angry rich man,
Indeed, yeah.
But yeah, he, as you say, he just wanted to make sure that Milo was 100% down for this because I think I'm trying to find, because I got the script up now, I'm trying to look for it when he says, he sort of like pushed him a bit and says, oh, this looks like gibberish to me. He said, that's because it's written in an ancient dialect that no longer exists. So it's useless. No, just difficult. I spent my whole life studying dead languages. It's not gibberish to me. It's probably a fake. Mr. Whitmore, my grandfather would have known if it's a fake. Then where's the bit? I'm trying to find the bit when he says, oh, yes, yeah, he says, like you did today, about like how he couldn't convince anyone. He says, well, yes, no.
They'll never believe you. Then I'll make them believe you, like you did today.
Yeah. Forget about them. Okay, never mind. I will find Atlantis on my own. I mean,
even if I have to take a speedboat or something like that.
Yeah. You have to rent a rowboat. And he's like, congratulations, Milo. This is exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But forget the rowboat, son. Presses the button. We'll travel in style. And then we get to see the little models, which looks pretty trendy.
It does, yeah.
The submarine and the smaller submarines as well. And then he's basically got a new job. He's a science linguistic guy on this voyage to Atlantis.
Then, of course, we get to meet the crew he's going to be working with on the expedition, and this is a very colourful bunch of characters.
Yeah, for sure.
So first off, we get introduced to, I think the first ones we get introduced to are, Helga again, Rourke, and then the cook, who I can't remember the name of. I think they're the first ones we see, if I'm correct. Yeah. I will admit, I didn't. Yeah, I will admit, I didn't when I was younger, I didn't like Quark as a villain, but as I've got older and like seen other takes on it, I think I understand his character a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like his okay, we read the banner up here as well. Rourke is the villain. Let's be honest, but you can see it from a fucking mile away. But it's also like generally there's a decent bit of foreshadowing that he's gonna like turn on them.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious in it with the yes, this should be enriching for all of us.
Yeah. But also when the ship is going down, he's one of the first in the escape boat.
I never noticed that. Fair play.
Yeah, he's when the ship is like being attacked by the Leviathan and going down, when everyone's getting into like the escape pods to get out of the ship, he's one of the first in there.
Interesting.
And it's like a true captain leader would be the last one in to make sure everyone actually has gotten in.
Yeah.
So already right away, like if you know what to look for, the hints are there that he doesn't really value people and values money more.
True. And also when Milo's panicking about the fireflies burning everything, it's like, I'm gonna kill that kid. Thatch, go back to bed. Oh!
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah, so we get introduced to like the various crew from the mechanic, Audrey, I think their name is.
Audrey, yeah.
To Vinny, the demolitionist, to Maul, the Mole Man.
Yeah, bloke who likes to dig, even though he doesn't end up digging that much. But yeah.
Yeah, and the Doc, who the name escapes me.
Sweet,
that's right.
Oh, you sat in the dirt, didn't you?
Yep. To be fair, all of them are relatively likable.
Get back! I got soap. Get back, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Yeah.
I know people complain about some of the humor, but I don't know. I find it funny when Mole's bloody getting bantered with, and he's asking, "You disturb the dirt."
I think Mole by himself would be a Jar Jar Binks situation, but the fact like the other characters play off Mole well enough makes him more bearable.
Yeah, for sure.
If Mole was just by himself and no one else was like playing off him, he would be a Jar Jar Binks situation 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Just something super annoying that everyone looks back on and cringes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they start their expedition, which primarily this is just like Milo doing like a presentation for them and meeting the crew that are going to be with us the whole movie.
I don't respect him or do they at first? Or just like
no, none of them respect him at the beginning at all.
Yeah, they just think he's a joker.
Yep. And then as they go down, they they run into the Leviathan, which is it's basically a Atlantean war machine that is still operational and guards the entrance to Atlantis.
Yeah, so many shipwrecks there as well.
Yeah,
so many people attempting.
This movie has an insane body count, from the Atlanteans at the beginning being hit by the flood and almost being wiped out, to almost the entire crew of the ship being destroyed by the Leviathan. This movie has an impressive body count.
And some of them just get blown up straight away. Some of them drown because Audrey had to shut the door on them, which was pretty sad. Yeah,
she had to shut the metal door to stop the water getting in.
So you don't see that happen in many Disney films.
Yeah, like I said, this is from an era of Disney where Disney were not afraid to show that shit. Whereas modern day Disney, they would not touch that over 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
They would take the coward's way out. It's like, no, the thing is, little things like kids can handle dark stuff as long as the ending is happy.
For sure, yeah.
As long as there's a happy ending, kids can handle dark material. And I think to a degree, you should show kids some dark material because it'll help them like develop later. Just make sure the stuff you're showing them has a happy ending still to restore some hope in their humanity.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I've watched a lot of sad films, don't get me wrong, like films with sad endings, and some people really don't like them, but I think sometimes those sort of films that are bittersweet or have a sad ending can be quite powerful, and stick.
It depends how it's done, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, to real life, nothing is always going to be happy. There's going to be dark times.
Yeah.
There always is. So if every movie always has a happy ending, it just tries to paint this image of, oh, like everything always works out in life when it doesn't.
Very true.
That's why you gotta take some of the bittersweet moments. But also, the bittersweet makes the good moments actually last. Or, well, not last, but like hit.
Yeah.
Because you appreciate them more.
Mm.
So I think, to use a reworded version of a like quote from something, happiness only has value because it doesn't last.
Yeah, exactly. That's bang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Leviathan though he blows everything up and they got to escape.
Yep.
And to be honest, the sequence was very well animated and well done.
It was,
flying around. It was like a
it was
space
very
battle.
impressive. The sequence of them running from the Leviathan. Also, I find it funny as normally the depiction of Leviathans are like large sea serpents, but the one in the movie is a mechanical lobster.
Yeah, very scary one.
Yeah, which I just thought was a pretty fun like. It was just something really funny there. It's like, oh yeah, the Leviathan, it's a lobster.
Yeah,
hilarious.
But obviously we go to a very sad moment as well when
they're mourning the deaths of the crew. Yeah,
we entered with 200 of the finest men and women I've ever met. We're all that's left. I won't sugarcoat it for all of you, but we've been up this road before. Everyone's got to work double time and stuff like that he said.
Yeah.
He seems like an okay leader in some parts of the film.
Yeah, I think he does have some leader qualities. It's not like he's 100% scumbag, but it's very clear where his priorities are.
Yeah, like, you think he'd be a lot more sad about the people or going no when they're all getting blown to bits if he really cared.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they shoot on their way through Atlantis, and there's some beautiful imagery along the way. I mean, the animation and the journey to Atlantis are so many different like historical looking objects.
The bulk of the crew give Milo a lot of shit throughout most of the beginning of the movie, but as they get deeper in and Milo is effectively guiding them using the book, they start to realize maybe we should give him a bit of slack because we have only made it this far because he's guiding the way.
Yeah. And I think at first the crew are thinking, we've gone through all this stuff. We went to Iceland to get the journal. We've been doing this stuff for years. We've been mercenaries for years. And now this Atlantis fanboy is coming along and all he has to do is stand around and read a book. This seems a bit unfair. All of us have got specialist skills, yet he just gets to come along anyway. I think that was probably their mentality at the time.
Yeah. They weren't fans for sure, but they warmed up to him as it went on.
I was going to say, one of my favourite characters, I think Vinny. I like Vinny and Sweet quite a bit, to be honest. There's one scene where Milo's like really amazed at how big this pillar is. He's like, it's got to be half a mile high at least. It must have taken 100, thousands of years to carve this thing.
Yeah, Vinny blows it up. He's like, hey, look, I made a bridge. It took me like, what, 10 seconds? 11 tops.
Yeah. And then straight after, Rourke's like... looks like we have a little roadblock, Vinny. What do you think? And he goes, I could unroadblock that if I had about 200 of these.
Promise only have 10. Plus 5 of my own.
Couple cherry bombs, a road flare. Hey, too bad we don't have some
nitroglycerin, eh, Milo?
Yeah.
Yeah, playing off a joke from earlier.
Oh, yeah, when he said, don't move, don't do... Wait, did you just drug that? That's not good, that's nitroglycerin. Oh, you know... What? Stay still. Don't move, don't do nothing at all. Just pray. And then Mel goes, wah! And scares him.
Yeah.
That was it. He's funny, Vinny, man. But the bloke who voiced him, I think they got him to do one take of the normal line, then he'd improvise each time. I think they should let more actors do that who have a good, funny comedic mind.
Yeah, I think when you improvise comedy, it definitely helps it more. Like, yes, you're gonna get like moments that seem awkward because you got to be funny on the spot.
Yeah.
It also means the actual funny lines hit a bit closer to home and feel more genuinely funny than if you like script the entire sequence for comedy.
Yeah, and it probably pisses off the animators if they have to animate more mouth movements and stuff than they usually would, than the script requires. But hey, if it's something funny and banterous, then pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look at the animated Aladdin. The animators basically like animated Robin Williams going off.
Oh yeah, all the time, yeah. Mr.
Yeah,
Aladdin.
the genie character was designed around Robin.
Yeah, all of his energy and fun in all of his films.
Yeah,
like Dead Poet Society and Good Morning Vietnam. I've seen a couple of his other films. I saw Good Will Hunting, which is great as well. It's quite energetic in robots, but obviously that film was a bit hit and miss, I guess.
oh yeah, when he plays a vendor.
Yeah, I think they used him. I don't know. I think they let him go a bit too mad in that one, to be honest with you. And I don't know how good he was in Hook or not. I've never actually watched that one, surprisingly. I've wanted to because Justin Hoffman's in it. And I haven't watched Mrs. Doubtfire either.
Mrs. Doubtfire is pretty alright. I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, what on earth happens next? Let's have a look.
So as they go through and they set up their camp, the fireflies occur, which are quite literally fireflies.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they light the camp on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say quickly, sorry, because that is a bit ahead of when the camp were talking. I really enjoy the camp's conversations.
Like the little banter moments where we actually see them bonding with Milo.
Yeah, and they're all like, come on, man, you're a bit of a Sigma. Why are you grafting so much with this book? You haven't put the book down yet. And he's just like so obsessed with it, and it's it's his life's work. And then he asks them, we're all in it for the knowledge, discovery, teamwork, unless you're just in it for the money. And they'll go, money, 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 money. But they're saying why they want it. Audrey wants to open up.
I think they explain later why they want the money. So you have the scene where they're eating around the campfire, and that's when they start opening up and actually being friendly to Milo.
Oh, okay,
and then later, before they go to sleep, is when they open up why they want the money.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You're right. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I've scrolled down a bit further. You're right. Yeah.
So that's the bit where we actually learn why each of them is on this expedition, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that is when we get the firefly bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
But at least we understand why they're after money. They're not just, chasing
generic.
Nonsense.
We just want to be rich.
They're actually chasing stuff that they want out of their life, like Vinny in his flower shop. Audrey
Vinny wants to open his flower shop. Audrey wants to help her dad with his mechanic shop and help them open a new one.
Mm-hmm.
I think, if I'm correct, I don't remember if Sweet actually explained what he wanted the money for. I think it's something to do with helping people medically because he is a doctor.
Yeah.
Mole, we don't know.
Yeah, he's just a mad
Mole
lad.
just digs a hole.
He just loves digging, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just loves digging. And Milo opens up about how hard his life has been, and he carries himself quite well considering all the stuff that he's gone through. Losing his parents when he was a kid, and then he lived with his granddad for years.
I think the others see how much Milo looks up to his granddad as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I believe they used to I think they were the same team that worked with Milo's granddad as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them knew him as well, I think.
Yeah.
I think Audrey didn't, because she even mentioned she never actually met Milo's grandfather.
Yeah, she said, "What was he like?"
But the others, I think, knew him already.
Yeah, I mean, she was only 18 in that part of the film, so she probably wouldn't have been around for the other expeditions apart from the Iceland trip.
Yeah, but it's a nice little slower moment to let the characters bond and actually be characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them actually form help form our connection to them for later.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see
and it also helps explain why they decide to side with Milo and Atlantis at the end.
Yeah, I can see that. It's 3:00, so do you need to go for 2 minutes?
I've still got a couple of minutes.
Fair enough.
It's at 3:05. I need to do my upload, so I'll do that I'll start setting that up at 4 past.
Fair enough, bro.
I won't actually jump out of the studio. I'll just mute myself while I deal with that.
Fair enough. But yeah, another little hint to Rourke when he's like, "Oh, who cares what? He doesn't care about the crew." He's like, "All right, who's not dead? Sound off." That's no he's just not bothered. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Whoever's here, great. Whoever's not here, oh well. And then but on that bit, you find out that they're on a volcano, which ends up getting brought up later, which is pretty interesting into the film. Because they're like the magma has solidified on the volcano, effectively blocking the exit. But then they shoot the flare up, and it looks like they have found a way out.
Yeah. They're like, if we could blow a hole like on the top of the volcano, we could get out.
Yeah.
And have a straight shot to the surface.
Yeah, man.
Which that comes into play later.
And
again, foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was going to say though, it is a bit weird how, because reviewers have brought up how do like the Atlanteans survive? Like, there's no oxygen down there, so surely they'd be dead straight away, wouldn't they? How do they live hundreds? Oh wait, they live loads of years because they're necklace life source.
Yeah, it's the crystals.
So that's fair.
The crystals are what's keeping them alive.
But yeah, it doesn't make sense how oxygen gets down there at the bottom of the ocean.
Because I think that's one of the main reasons why when Rourke is trying to take the big mother crystal, it's like if you take that, they're going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that crystal is the reason they've managed to stay alive all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So the Atlanteans are going to have horrible deaths where their bodies... Well, the young ones will probably be fine. Depends how old they are, though, in Atlantean years.
Yeah, true.
But the older ones are probably going to start having issues because they're like, 1,000 years old or something. So...
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, not cool. It's an interesting villain arc for Rourke, how he just doesn't care about anyone. To be honest, on Nostalgia Critic's review of Atlantis, he said Rourke's a crap villain. And I've got a few counterpoints to what he said. So one thing he said was, well, the thing is, he's just a dull dick who's after money. And at the end of the expedition, he could have just got treasure anyway. And it's like, hold on a second. The reason why the whole crew got that treasure was because they saved Atlantis. That's why, from Rourke, and brought the power source back. It wasn't like he couldn't have just took the treasure willy-nilly. As far as the Leonard Nimoy King was concerned, he was just going to stay one night, and that was it. They were just going to stay one night. They weren't going to get anything, probably, I don't know, like a few little bits and bobs to take back with them. Probably nothing worth bloody... I don't know why I can't remember the bloke's... Mr. Whitmore's, that's it. Nothing worth the amount of money that Mr. Whitmore has put into the expedition. But I suppose he wasn't in it for the money, Mr. Whitmore. Surprisingly, the richest man wasn't in it for the money. He was only in it for, keeping a promise to his very good friend who unfortunately passed away. And so, that was... it doesn't... The reason why he wanted it was because he was going to take it by force and then just become absolutely filthy rich. He did make one good point there saying, well, we couldn't know what he wants to spend the money on. But I don't know. It would have been a bit boring if he just doesn't... I guess it would have been nice to have a reason, but I don't mind people just being a complete twat, and there's not much more to it. They just love money, 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 money. There's a lot of people in the world who just love money, 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 money. You know what I'm saying? Money, 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 as Mr. Krabs says.
Yeah.
So it's not. I think he's great, and to be honest, he can say stuff that if other villains said it would sound lame, but because he's just such a dick, it's like when he blows up the top of the volcano, he goes, "I love it when I win," and it just sounds like none of this is personal. He just wants loads of money. That's it. I mean, he just punched Milo, which is a bit annoying, but I think it's because Milo's the only one that he can't control. Everyone else he's controlled in some way. Milo, even though they're turned on Rourke at the end, Milo's the one who he
I think it was him punching Milo that made a lot of them turn. Cause...
Oh, yeah, true, yeah. He says, oh, I got the cargo, the crew, one last thing.
Yeah.
So a bit mean. But he would have thrown all the crew under the bus. I mean, hell.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I feel like his Who's Still Alive sound off is less him seeing if his crew's okay and more so checking how many more people can he throw away if necessary.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, it's like checking how many more pawns he still has to utilize.
Also with Rourke, I love how he discovers the heart of Atlantis. Like, at first, he's bullying everyone and saying, now, I'm going to shoot you unless you tell me where the heart of Atlantis is. It sounded a bit cool than that, but it's something along those lines, and he goes,
I do like that he is actually smart enough that he figures it out.
9. And then he goes, wait. The heart of Atlantis lies in the eyes of her king. And he sees it. He sees where he's like, yes, baby, we're in.
Yeah.
And then another thing, he's very smart. He never takes the risks. He never goes first. Just like with the Atlantis water, he chucks a pebble in there and tells Milo and Kida to go in first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess back to
so they find the. Are we going backwards in the plot, or are we moving on to the next bit?
I guess when they find Atlantis, I don't know. Or
right.
whatever.
So after the whole fire situation, the crew gets separated, and Milo ends up on his own for a little bit, where he gets found by some Atlanteans. Specifically, Kida, who heals his wound using her crystal. And then I think they run off because the rest of the crew start coming, so looking for Milo.
Yeah.
And in them trying to follow Milo, who is currently trying to follow the Atlanteans, they discover Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Like the city. At which point they then Milo starts talking to the Atlanteans using his knowledge of like dead language. And he discovers that they can speak a lot of languages because their language is built on a root dialect, so it can be, so their dialect can trace down into other ones.
Yeah.
Which I like that exchange between him and Kida is the two are just every like other sentence they're in a different language.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense because a lot of languages are from a root dialect. It doesn't mean you know like Spanish or.
I guess
German.
it depends how like roots like how many traces can it go, I guess.
I mean, Milo, though, he can speak a lot of languages, man. Fair play to the lad.
Yeah.
He's really
because, like I said, when he's having his conversation with Kida, literally every other line is in a different language.
Yeah, Milo's proper brainy, man.
He is, yeah.
I can barely.
And then
speak
once they find out they can speak French, they speak my language, and they proceed to say something that gets him punched.
Yeah, he's very, very thirsty, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Dirty, perverted little mole.
Yeah. So after that, the group kind of starts staying at Atlantis for the night as like guests. But also around that time is when Rourke starts putting his plan into place with the others.
Yeah, and I like seeing how Milo and Kida bond, how they want to learn off of each other. They want to learn.
They're both just as curious about each other, and you can tell like Milo knows more about Atlantis than Kida does.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Even surprises him. Like they don't even like that. For example, the current Atlanteans can't even read the Atlantean, whilst Milo can.
Yeah, and he could operate the Atlantis hovercraft or whatever it was.
Yeah, he because he could read Atlantean, he knew how to he could figure out how to operate it.
Yeah,
but it's just cool, like little bits like that show like Milo knows all this stuff because he's studied Atlantis for years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting, like a civilization that's ravaged by a flood like that, and has been stuck underground for so long. Yeah, it makes sense a lot of them would lose those abilities as well.
Yeah, quite bloody sad. It's been thousands of years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been thousands of years for them.
Crazy.
And they lost a huge part of their civilization and people to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I like. I guess we can skip a bit. They find out as soon as they get out the water.
Kida and Milo go for a swim to find some more bits on Atlantis that is hidden under the water. And when they come back up, Rourke and the group are kind of there ready.
Did you have a nice swim?
Yeah. And this is where we get the full reveal of Rourke being the villain.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, if you were paying attention to his dialogue and actions, the hints were there he was going to do this.
Yeah.
But this is the moment where he actually does it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And you see everyone is on Rourke's side. As I said earlier, they're all completely in it for the money. And I like the debate, the back and forth. And like Milo's like, for goodness sake, why are you doing this? You're destroying everything. And he's like, well, let's, we're venture capitalists at the end of the day. Think about it. If you stole every artifact, if you gave back every
artifact that was stolen for a museum, you'd have an empty building.
Yeah, exactly. He says, we're just
Which
providing.
that's actually a pretty good line to have to explain what they're doing there.
And then
that
he's
is
like,
true. Every artifact in a museum is technically stolen from
somewhere.
ruins. Yeah, everyone is taken from somewhere.
Yeah.
So he has a point when he says that.
But the difference between like it's an interesting point, as you say, but obviously the difference between something dug up in the sand and not returned to the locals in, let's say, Egypt from hundreds of years ago anyway, so they're not going to know who it belonged to. There's a big difference between that artifact and something that powers thousands of people's lives.
I think the difference here for the dilemma is the Atlanteans are still alive. They still
exactly.
The crystal they're after is still like needed for their civilization.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's roughly where the others start to switch sides as well. Is they realize I think they sort of realize like this is different to other cases because these people are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like how Cookie isn't with the crew when they're leaving. He's tending to
oh,
the
you mean
King's rib issues.
The doc.
Cool. Yeah.
After work, like punches him.
Yeah, so I think he's already turned because he wouldn't have got down in time to. I mean, he could have done, but he wasn't saying, "Oh, where is everyone? Do I need to go after Rourke now and jump on the truck?" You know.
Yeah.
He was just waiting there because it shows how he genuinely cares about people's
Yeah,
health.
he genuinely wants to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they find where the crystal is stored, which is under the palace.
That scene was beautifully animated.
It was so good. And when they get down there, the crystal calls to Kita, and she like merges with it. At which point, which is what happened to Kita's mother during the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
go
on.
I was going to say, if you remain bonded to that crystal, you end up dead.
Yeah. Yeah, if you remain bonded to it for too long, you die. Yeah. So, Rourke and they were going to take Kita up to the surface since she's now the crystal.
Mm.
And they plan to leave Milo down there with the Atlanteans to die.
Yeah.
And of course, Rourke, being a dick, decides to punch Milo before they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Which, luckily, the rest of the team have a change of heart and decide like that. Yeah, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it takes one person. It took Audrey going to side with Milo.
Audrey like switched first, and the others followed.
She's got a lot of guts doing that because imagine like you're 18, you've got the biggest score of your life, you're going to be minted, and then you're potentially risking threat. Imagine if no one else went with her. You're potentially risking it all just to, I don't know.
I think it could also be a case of the guilt with Hammer because in the action of taking this crystal, they would have a bunch of bodies on their heads now, whether they want to admit it or not. So I think part of the guilt of that, and also the fact that she's bonded with Milo and the Atlanteans, and generally seeing Rourke taking it a bit far here.
Yeah.
Because even when they arrive at Atlantia and realizes people, even Helga's like questioning if the plan needs to change now. Because there were not supposed to be people down there, but there were.
Yeah. But then Rourke's like, this changes nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Which again is another hint to the guy doesn't value people; he values money.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually something I'll bring up with Treasure Planet. That's actually really cool about that. I know I jumped ahead there, mentioned Treasure Planet when we're still on Atlantis, but it's something cool about the quote unquote villains of both movies. I have to use quotation marks because obviously I don't think John Silver is not technically a villain, but he is, you know. But I'll explain that when we get to Treasure Planet. Yeah, but a big thing of Rourke's whole past is he values money over people, and they make that relatively clear. So we're at the point where like Rourke and his men have left with the crystal. They blowed up the bridge so they can't be followed, and are basically just going to make their way to the surface now.
Yeah.
And the Atlanteans' crystals are starting to lose power because obviously the crystal's been taken. But with the power their crystals have left, Milo tells them how to operate the flying machines, and they go after Rourke.
Oh, I was going to say one quick thing. I like the bit when Vinny says, we've done a lot of things we're not proud of. Robbing graves, plundering tombs, double parking, but nobody got hurt. Well, maybe somebody got hurt, but nobody
no
we
one
knew.
we knew. I do like
legend.
Vinny's pretty. Listen, Vinny's one of the comedy characters for sure.
Yeah, he's what they wanted Mole to be.
Yeah, I think if his Mole is clearly the comedy character for like the kids because they're kids are easy to entertain. Vinny is more of the comedy character for grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like his comedy hits a lot closer and is a lot funnier than Mole's random shtick of the week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final fight scene, that's great. You know, them throwing down, what's his name? Rourke basically stabbing everyone in the back and not caring. He just wants to get that money no matter what. And his death, it's so funny how he's like, you know what, the ship's going down. I don't care, I'm going to go mad. And he starts swinging the axe and he's like, you've really pissed me off now. I'm a passive, relaxed man, but you got under my skin, Mr. Thatch. You've won the golden Cupid doll.
Yeah. Also, he gets a cut with a piece of glass that's touched the crystal, and he gets kind of he gets semi-crystallized, but he's still able to move. You know what I mean?
Well, he's stuck at first, but then he starts moving again, and then he gets killed by the fan.
Yeah.
And then it's an intense sequence where they get back to... He gets killed and blown up. Oh, yeah, he stabs Helga in the back, and she's the reason why the ship goes down, because she shoots it down and goes, nothing personal, and dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the final chase sequence when they get back to Atlantis trying to get out the way from the volcano, which they foreshadowed earlier about the volcano blowing up. And yeah, when Kida covers the whole place with a force field, I love like how it gets covered in molten lava, and then you see all the Atlantis symbols all over the place, and they light up in blue. That must have been such a ball ache to animate, and it's just...
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Indeed. It must have been boring to animate, but it looked great.
Yeah, definitely. And then yeah, the film basically ends, and I like how you know, Milo and Kida aren't all over each other straight away, even though it is leading to a romantic relationship. They just
it's like the feelings are there, but neither of the two have really acted on it yet.
Yeah, they've only known each other for a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're not going to move that fast with each other. So. But they gave each other a good, somewhat romantic hug, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah. So Milo chooses to stay at Atlantis to help the people out, since, like I said, he knows more about them than they do now.
Yeah, and he probably prefers that lifestyle. He probably prefers to live with them. He spent his whole life studying it. He might as well stay there and help them out and have a family with Kida and all that jazz.
Yeah. And the others were given Atlantean treasure and basically went their own way back to the surface.
Yeah.
But they did take one of the crystals back as proof to Mr. Was it Whitmore? He
said, I hope this was enough proof for you.
Yeah. Because he did say earlier in the movie, it was like that Milo, like that the archaeologist and that like laughed at Milo's dad. And he's like, if he could bring back just one bit of proof, that would have been enough for him.
Yeah.
And of course Milo gave him the crystal, so he has his proof, which is good.
Yeah, not to sound sad, but if he shows that to those geezers, they're just going to say, oh, that's just some made-up toy. But still, Whitmore knows that Milo's granddad was right, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. But, yeah, I guess that's the end of the film. Great writing, great characters.
Yeah.
Paced very well, flies. But I know it's
beautifully animated at various points.
Yeah, very well animated. Very, very good villain, in my opinion. Underrated villain in Raw.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't say Rourke's the best villain Disney's ever made, but he's definitely underrated.
He's no Scar. Like, I proper hate people like Scar and Frodo from Scar from Lion King and Frodo from or Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, Frollo is definitely Disney's most real villain.
Yeah, he's such a... Obviously,
Frollo from Hunchback is Disney's evilest villain and their most real villain.
Yeah, because
there are legit people like him in the world.
Yeah, because like Scar, I mean, there's probably people like Scar years ago stabbing their family in the back to get power. You know, there's probably people like that throughout history. But yeah, Frollo, he obviously with things that have happened to me over the years, I've become a lot more religious and doing research into things. There are people who will use things in their religion to justify doing bad things, like, oh, I'm a holy person, I can do what I want.
Oh, it happens. It happens a shocking amount. People will
Yeah.
use religion as an excuse to do horrendous shit to people.
Yeah, it's real sad. And I mean, the thing is, I realise, like my failures and stuff, I'm not going to be like just trying to justify any silly mistake that I've made. But other people will be like, oh, I'm a holy person, I can do what I want, screw you. And he's an example of that.
It's like, my will is God's will. Yeah, fuck off.
And he manipulates. And Hunchback would be, actually, I think we should do. I was thinking of the next films we could review.
I am fully down to do Hunchback.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Maybe, that would be a good one, because there's a lot of things to talk about with that. Maybe Hunchback and Hercules next. I wanted to do Chicken Little and Meet the Robinsons, though, to rip into Chicken Little and rave about Meet the Robinsons too.
Chicken Little deserves to get ripped into.
Yeah, so maybe those two could be the next one then, Hercules and Hunchback, for us to look into.
Yeah.
But Atlantis, I'll give a 9 out of 10. Amazing film, absolutely love it. Easy to watch. Great characters, love it, flies by. Great action, just great everything about it.
Yeah, I agree. Atlantis is good.
Well, I guess let's move on to Treasure Planet, Jimbo lad.
Now this one
I've got to adjust me Long John Silver.
Yeah.
If I know you would all come in.
Treasure Planet. It's okay. So if you know the story Treasure Island, it's basically Treasure Island in space. But it's still it's still good with how it does things. So general plot synopsis: the main character, Jimbo, is it?
Yeah.
Technically it's just Jim, but Silver calls him Jimbo. Which, whenever I hear that, I think of fucking Jimmy's dad from Jimmy Neutron. You're going to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo. Have you seen that meme? But yeah, so Jim and his mother are basically they run a struggling diner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jim is a bit of a delinquent of sorts. Like he keeps getting himself in trouble with the cops.
He hoverboards in places he shouldn't hoverboard.
Basically, yeah. Oh, your camera's frozen, I think.
Oh,
there we go. It's moving again. I think it was just a bit of lag. Yeah, he hoverboards in places he shouldn't, and generally just gets in trouble with the cops.
Yeah.
But it's because Jim has some issues, and we'll get into those a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But he has some problems, and his mother doesn't really know what to do about it.
Yeah. It's nice to see him as a kid having a good time, and his mom's having a laugh with him about Treasure Planet.
Yeah, we see him and his mom bonding.
Sorry, I was trying to get the script up then. It was saying some crap.
Oh,
I don't know what the hell that was. Could you hear anything? Any commentary? Or any advert?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Sorry, I thought basically it was this actor and actress laughing. I honestly thought it was... It's on the fandom Moviepedia page. I honestly thought somehow some porn had popped up. That's why I started panicking. I thought my screen was sharing. I thought, shit, I'm gonna have to...
I didn't think it was gonna be this type of stream.
I was probably worried then, but no, I remember that audio can only be heard when it's when the screen shared, and also it was to an actor and an actress doing an interview, so it's all good.
Yeah,
man. But yeah, as you were saying,
yeah. So there's that, and then of course, as one day, after the most recent run-in with the police by Jim, a ship crash lands next to the diner that was attacked by some pirates, space pirates.
Oh yeah, because before that, some bloke comes rolling out the ship and he says, "Beware!"
He hands Jim the map to Treasure Planet because that's what the pirates are after, and tells him to keep it out the hands of the cyborg.
Yeah, and absolutely destroy the pub.
Yeah, the pirates arrive, including the quote-unquote cyborg. We'll meet him more later. And they completely destroy the pub. But Jim and his mom and the professor, who's a friend of the family, get away.
Dr. Hibbert, isn't it? No,
Yeah,
Delbert. Go Delbert!
Yeah, Delbert.
Go Delbert!
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Dr. Delbert. But while they're there, so the map to Treasure Planet is like the sphere. That's like one of those like brain puzzle games. You have to like twist and turn it to unlock it. And Jim, while messing with it, accidentally unlocks it.
Yeah.
Which shows them the location to Treasure Planet. But of
course, I love how Delbert's like, let's do this, let's go, I'm going to finance this expedition. Hold on a second, Delbert, couldn't you help Jim's milfy mom and Jim out? Come on, mate, just rebuild that on. You minted. No, I want to go on this adventure.
I do like that. It's like, and I was like, it's like, tell if it's too dangerous to go. So, this adventure, it is too dangerous. It's like, finally, someone's speaking sense. That's why I'm going with you, because he wants to go on the expedition.
But
and then like he convinces his mother to like let him go on the trip, to let Jim go on the thing. It's like, are you telling me this because it would be good for him, or because you just want to go? I really want to go, and it'd be good for him.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So they head. Also, Treasure Planet's another movie that's really like visually stunning. Yeah. Like I love like they do the spaceport, and like they look at the moon. It's like, oh, it's just gonna be a building on the moon. No, the moon itself is the spaceport, which is cool.
Yeah, because you think, wait, why have they done that? This isn't how the moon works. The moon's round; it just shows certain shapes because of the light.
Yeah,
but no, it's not. It's an actual space station.
Yeah, the moon is actually a spaceport. Yeah, which is cool because again, like you would think, oh, it's just like it would just be like a building on the moon. No, the moon itself.
Yeah, and we get a lot of fart humor when he jumps on the ship straight away.
I guess you gotta entertain. You gotta keep the kids entertained somehow while we get to the actual heart of the movie.
Yeah,
you gotta do it somehow.
True. Then we get to meet Captain Amelia, who's quite a cool lady, it seems.
Yeah.
And then we get to meet her first mate. He's another English accent person. I don't know his name. The rock bloke.
Sergeant Arrow, I believe, or Mr. Arrow.
Mr. Arrow, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically like the vice captain.
Yeah, I shall have no bad words about the captain on my ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid geezer.
I also do like the little bit of banter Arrow and Amelia have.
Oh, Captain! I didn't mean
the bit like she like compliments him a lot. He goes, it's like you don't need to like flower him out. It's like, and she goes, "Oh, posh, I don't mean a word of it."
Yeah,
just a nice little it's nice little friendly banter and stuff like that.
But yeah, I guess they just go off on the journey to find Treasure Planet, and we get introduced to Silver, and he's like, "Crap, it's a cyborg." He's there straight away, so he's a bit worried and wary. And then, the Irish, sorry, not the Irish, Long John Silver's quite friendly towards Jimbo, and he's a good mate to him. Yeah. He's like, I'll teach you everything you need to know, laddie, don't you, buddy? All this jazz.
Yeah, so I don't think he gets to that point yet. Jim is just kind of put, like, he's put under Silver's, like, supervision while he's on the ship.
Yeah, forced to work with him, yeah.
Yeah. And I do like how they mix like the piratey elements. Like the spaceships are generally just like mechanical pirate ships.
Yeah,
still,
true.
Like, keeping the space. Like we got the space whales. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make it very they make it very clear to the audience like after the first meeting that Silver is the cyborg the guy was on about.
Yeah, and bro, like, the animation on his hand, all the
the animation
all the 3D.
For Silver's animation is fucking phenomenal. Like the switching of his hands.
Yeah,
and all
absolutely amazing. Very sick.
It is, yeah.
And it's sad that they went this hard and they didn't even make any profit on the film. It's so sad.
Yeah, there is a story. There's somewhat of a story behind that, and I'll talk about it later in the stream. But let's get through the general plot first.
Yeah.
So, the ship starts its expedition or journey towards Treasure Planet with Jim basically using the map and helping out on the ship as they go. He also starts to get into some trouble with some of the members of the crew, which are also later revealed. They're members of Silver's crew that he managed to trick them into hiring as an upstanding crew.
Yeah.
So everyone on the ship is actually Silver's crew.
Yeah, because it's Scroop in it. He's like a cabin boy.
Scroop almost blows their cover because he gets into a row with Jim.
Should learn to mind their own business. Why, you got something to hide, Bright Eyes? Maybe your ears don't work so well. Yeah, but my nose works just fine. Were you impotent little? And then he's grabbing him, and then Silver's like, Mr. Scroop, have you ever seen what happens to a fresh pup
when you squeeze
real hard?
Yeah, like, he literally turns his mechanical hand to like a vice and just like starts like putting the pressure on.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah,
cool seeing John Silver stand up for Jim there. But then he gives him a lesson afterwards.
He does. Yeah, he's like, "Didn't your father teach you to pick your fights more carefully?" At which point we reveal that. So remember I mentioned Jim has issues.
Those are the issues, aren't they?
Yeah. So Jim doesn't have a dad. It's not so much like this. Oh, his dad died. No, it's shown in like a flashback. His dad straight up just abandoned him and his mom. He left and did not come back.
I mean, he wasn't around much because there's a couple scenes where he just like...
Yeah, he wasn't around a lot to begin with, and then there's a bit where he just took off and did not come back.
Yeah, tragic for him.
And that's part where a lot of Jim's like issues came from. And it's once Silver figures that out is when Silver starts to build his actual bond with Jim.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes the... like. Let's be real. The bond between John Silver and Jim is like the crutch of the movie, like the emotional side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where a lot of the heart of the movie comes from. It's seeing those two bond.
Yeah, their friendship.
Yeah.
Silver's the father Jim never had, and Jim's the son Silver never had because he just spent his whole life. It's a lifelong obsession, Jimbo. Don't worry, I'll get over it.
Yeah.
That was a legendary scene.
That was a very good scene. But yeah, so as they start bonding, like Silver starts like teaching Jim various like skills and that.
Mm-hmm.
As well as just generally working Jim hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also get so as they go through that, and there's a bit where like Silver teaches Jim how to like fly one of the like ships, like the little
the smaller boats, like the escape boats or whatever.
Yeah. And then we have the supernova scene where like one of the suns they're passing starts to collapse into a black hole.
Yeah.
And we have this bit like you got the crew trying to like fix the sail so it's not getting so they don't get destroyed. They're trying not to get pulled into this black hole. Jim's got to secure everyone to the mast. And during some of the supernova bits, Arrow falls off the ship and Scroot cuts his rope, causing him to fall into the black hole. Right. That's how I see. I see James is.
I'm still here. I just had to turn my camera off for a few seconds.
Okay.
For a bit. Yeah, but what was I going to say? Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying that Scoop kills Mr. Arrow, but I suppose it's one of those sad things that happens, and I guess they had to get rid of him because how are you going to beat a rock man is the question. Unless you throw him into a black hole, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who would have? I mean, maybe Silver with his hand would have had an okay chance, but a bloke made out of rock, bro, he's going to kick everyone's ass, man.
Yeah.
You could probably shoot him with a load
the
of
look
lasers.
Scroot gives Silver, you could tell he did it on purpose to mess with Silver a bit as well.
And Jimbo as well. He wanted Jimbo to tie the rope.
Probably. And then we get the makings of greatness in your scene between Silver and Jim.
Yeah,
I love that speech from Silver.
Yeah, that scene is just a bit of a tearjerker, man. Can't lie. There's a few tearjerker scenes in this, to be fair.
Yeah, so I mean, the movie has some great stuff. Like Silver's speech there is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
you got the makings of greatness in you.
I found it. Here we go. Now you listen to me, James Hawkins. You got the makings of greatness in you, but you got to take the helm and chart your own course. Stick to it, no matter the squalors. And when the time comes, you get your chance to really test the cut of your sails. and show what you're really made of. Well, I hope I'm there, catching some of the light coming off you that day. Bro, I'm getting goosebumps reading it, man. It's
such a good speech.
Especially after he thinks he's completely fouled and got someone killed. That's like, man.
It's so good. Especially it's like throughout a lot of the movie, especially like with every time the cops, he's constantly being told he's a bit of a failure by everyone else, really. Despite the fact that he clearly has some skill set. Like he's very good at the hoverboard thing.
Yeah, very.
And so like
Sniper has put what's going on here. Just a cheeky film review, mate. How are you? Never seen you in the chat before. How's it going?
Yeah.
But obviously though, we see how conflicted Silver is when he's like, getting in too deep here, Morphy.
He's starting to actually get attached to Jim.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, the whole point of this crew thing is so they can get to Treasure Planet, because that's his obsession.
Mm-hmm.
We are reviewing Atlantis and Treasure Planet. We've just moved on to Treasure Planet.
Interesting. I'm good. And what movie? Yeah, Scott
said. I was answering the comment.
Two underrated films which deserve a lot more praise than they've got over the years.
Definitely.
A lot more attention. But yeah, I like the bit when Jim overhears everything everyone's saying, and then Silver's like, "Jimbo, playing games, are we?" He's like, "Yeah, we're playing games." Oh, I see. I was never much good at games. Always hated to lose. And then he takes his pistol out and he's clocking it back, and then he stabs Silver in the leg and runs off. That's such a good chaotic scene, and he's got to get out of there with Delbert and Amelia. And Morph decides
I agree
to go.
with you there, Sniper. Treasure Planet and Atlantis are lost gold, and they deserve appreciation.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Both these movies are fucking fantastic. But so Jim overhears Silver talking to his crew about their plan to mutiny on the ship once they get to Treasure Planet, and then Silver realizes Jim was listening.
Yeah. And then he's like, I didn't mean it. Afterwards, he says, I didn't mean a word of it. But yeah, the escape is very chaotic. And he has Jimbo in the sight of his gun. And he's like, I can't do it. And they get away with the map. Even though the map ends up being Morph, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. So there is actually a little thing on the Atlantis sequel. I'll bring those since it's been mentioned, chat. So there is a sequel to Atlantis, but it's not a real sequel. It's during this era where Disney were trying to get like TV shows based on some of their movies. So what they would do is they would make the first 3 episodes of the TV show and then package it and say it's a movie. And then they would look at fan reception to decide if it actually gets a show or not. So Atlantis 2, Milo's Return, is one of these examples where it's not technically a sequel. It's the first 3 episodes of an Atlantis TV show, but it wasn't received well enough to actually get the show.
Yeah. And to be honest, my opinion on the sequel...
Yeah, it's basically the situation that happened with Moana 2, where it's effectively just trying to get a TV show going. Yeah, Moana 2 specifically. The same happened with Tarzan and Jane, where that's just 3 episodes for the Tarzan TV show.
I think that got picked up though, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Tarzan actually got picked up, so it has a full series. But because you got Tarzan, Jane, and then you got Tarzan 2, which is an actual sequel. Though technically it's a prequel.
Yeah, it's about him when he was a kid, wasn't it?
Yeah. But a lot of Disney's direct-to-DVD sequels from that era are actually attempts at getting TV shows. Same with Cinderella 2. That was a TV show attempt as well.
Yeah.
Basically, if you watch a direct-to-DVD Disney sequel from that era and it's 3 different plots throughout the movie, it was an attempt at a TV show. Yeah. Tarzan 2 is not too bad. It's a prequel to the event, to Tarzan 1. I say prequel, it takes place while Tarzan is still a kid growing up into the adult Tarzan we know. And Tarzan Jane, as I said, is basically a TV show pilot. So it'll be 3 like separate plots that link together. But anyway, back onto Treasure Planet.
Oh, so I was going to just quickly say about Atlantis. It could have been an alright TV show if they'd done it right, but what I would have done if I was in charge, just done a prequel about them like trying to find things and a bit of plundering. So not have Milo in it, have like the crew and Rourke and all them going around doing their thing, maybe.
Especially since the 3rd episode already goes to like Armageddon territory with fucking the Odin guy trying to cause Ragnarok in the 3rd act.
And then maybe a TV show could spawn off that.
Yeah,
But
so
I don't
that
really know
seems more like a final thing than a fucking the 3rd episode of a show.
Yeah, I don't know what, apart from that prequel, I can't think of what else you could do with Atlantis, really. I guess bringing it to the surface was a nice end to the second one, but the end just wasn't, the second one wasn't really particularly that good in my opinion, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so back to Treasure Planet. Yeah, so the mutiny starts because obviously Jim found them out. So Silver starts the mutiny.
We attack! No!
Yeah.
What it was.
Which causes them to crash land onto the actual planet.
Yeah.
And they find out that they thought they had the map, but no, it was Morph. Morph is clearly like the little side character thing designed to try and sell toys, but is not super annoying as some of them are.
I think he's quite funny with all his mimicking.
Yeah. There is the other character like that. We'll get to them in a second.
Yeah, because we've
you know exactly what I'm on about right away.
Yeah, I need to do the impression of him when we get to that bit.
But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah,
Morph is basically just a dog that can shapeshift, and it's adorable.
Yeah, I was going to say quickly as well. Oh, yeah. What's his name? John Silver pushes the cannon out the way. Say, no, you're going to destroy the map. But deep down, he wanted to save Jim Barlow.
Yeah, deep down, he was trying to save Jim in that. Because there's a bit where John could have shot Jim in the back and couldn't bring himself to do it.
Yeah.
As well. So I like that. Like, he's trying to frame it one way, but it's very obvious by his body language. His actions have another meaning to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you think he says he's pushing the cannon out the way so he doesn't destroy the map, but in truth, we all know it's so he doesn't shoot Jim.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just quickly say this. Atlantis is about side character we never got. I don't know, maybe they all bounce off each other, so I don't know, but maybe Vinny or Sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've crash landed. I like how the captain's out of action, so Jim has to make his own decisions now. But yeah, he's looking around and we just see in the screen, and then he goes, "Oh, fantastic! A carbon-based life form come to rescue me at last! I just want to hug you and squeeze you and hold you close to me." What's this guy? This is meant to be some pirate film with sci-fi.
So this character is your standard super annoying Disney side character that they introduced to try and like entertain children. There was a lot of them back in this era. You can probably pinpoint them very well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna bring that up later in the review. Actually, that Silver is a prime example of an anti-villain. It's like how you have anti-heroes. Silver is an anti-villain, and he's a prime example for one. He's done so well, and. But okay, when we get to the end, I'll explain a bit more about that. But yeah, so we get introduced to the robot. I can't remember his name. Honestly, I might have just purged it from my memory to save my sanity.
I'm personally, I mean, you feel bad for Ben, right? Because he's been marooned for 100 years and had his memory unit pulled out.
Yeah, his memory was ripped out.
Why did they have to make him so mad and bonkers and like bloody berserk? It's just a bit odd, really.
As annoying as he is, though, he can slightly be forgiven because he's only in the last act, like last third of the movie. Yeah, if he was there throughout the whole thing, he would be significantly less tolerable.
Yeah.
Because, again, you can understand why he's mad. Like, he's been isolated on this planet for God knows how many years, and his memory circuit was ripped out. But still, like, again, luckily it's only the last third, so he's more tolerable than other characters of that type in these movies. Again, look at fucking Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I mean, at least Ben has some reason for being mad. Jar Jar Binks just got kicked out for wrecking a load of the Gungan city. Oh, you mean Ben? Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, we mean Ben. But yes, we get introduced to Ben, who like sets them up with his place to stay.
Dude,
yeah, trust me, that's not an unpopular opinion. There, like I think a lot of people hate Ben.
Yeah, I mean, at least he was in the last act, and you feel a bit sorry for him. But I would have rather them gone for like an actual how people actually feel during isolation. Like it can make you go mad, I guess, but like they'd be a bit sad and low, but like happy to see someone, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
they wouldn't be going ah and going mad, would they?
Yeah. So they set up a place to like stay, only for Ben to immediately give away their cover to the pirates, thinking like that they're more friends.
Yeah, lunatic.
Yeah. And then we get a bit where like Silver and like Jim are like talking a bit during a ceasefire, where Silver tries to convince Jim to like side with them, and he'll get a share of the treasure.
Yeah.
Of course, Jim doesn't buy it,
and he doesn't even have the map.
Yeah, but they don't know that yet.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like I love how like they use show don't tell so well here. Like, for example, when Silver says like if they don't hand the map to him by this time, he'll use the ship's cannons to blow them all to Kingdom Come. But then as he walks away, you can see by his facial expressions that he doesn't want to do that. Like they show don't tell so well.
Definitely.
With Silver.
But yeah, I know Silver says, "You'll get me that map and an even portion of the treasure is yours. What do you say?" And then he's like, "Boy, you really are something. All that talk of greatness, light coming off my sails, what a joke. No, just here, Jimbo. I mean, at least you told me one thing. Stick to it right. Well, that's just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure that you never see a doubloon of my treasure. That treasure is owed to me, boy Thunder. Well, try to find it without my map, by Thunder." He's like, "Oh, You don't know when to pick your fights, do you, boy? Now mark my words, either I get them up by dawn, or I'll use the ship's cannons to blast you all to Kingdom Come. Yeah. Morph, up to it now!"
Yeah, like he even like scares Morph into it.
I really like as well. He the eye changing colour went with his emotions. That's pretty cool. I'm sure he means well, but FFS.
Yeah, we're still talking about Ben.
More annoying to deal with Dr. Dalbert. I think Dalbert's all right overall. He adapts. He gets better throughout the story, doesn't he? He becomes more ballsy and uses his wit to outdupe people. And he gets with the lovely Captain Amelia. Yeah.
Which I will admit, I feel like that romance could have been built up a bit more than it was.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of romance.
It feels a little rushed.
Yeah. I personally...
They should have given them a few more scenes to make it actually feel like, a thing. But to be fair, the movie overall is great. It's not something that's going to like take away from it. It's just one of those things I wish they would have done.
Yeah, I personally like them two together at the end, but you are right, it was rushed a lot, and it doesn't really make much. It doesn't make much sense for the story aspect,
Yeah, like it's not wrong or anything. Like there is a little bit of chemistry. I just wish they would have given us a few more scenes to see them building to that.
Yeah, but I like when they go back up to the ship and Jim manages to mug Scoop off, Mr. Scroop off. But in the way that Mr. Scroop mugged off Mr. Arrow. So
yeah, that was a good bit of
and you panic. Yeah. You get worried for Jimbo because he can't reach the gun because it's flying off into space. And then he's like, "Say hello to Mr. Arrow for me." He says, "Tell him yourself." And then he goes flying off in space. He's like, "Ah!" That was brilliant.
He gave him the Mr. Arrow treatment.
Yeah.
So Jim and them recover the map from the ship and they make their way back to the hideout, and they find out Silver's already infiltrated the hideout and was waiting for them to get back.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, and so they get captured. Only for Silver to realize, like, he can't open the map, so they still need Jim.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Jim gets taken with them. Delbert and the captain are also taken, but they're left on like a little rowboat and guarded by like one guy.
I like the bit where what's it called? I like when he's like, otherwise I'll shoot your friends here, and then she's like shaking his head, and Delbert's going yes. Then he sees immediately, and he goes, no.
Yeah.
Delbert's thinking what most people would be thinking, like, no, I don't care about a map. Give it him. Mind you, Delbert has more reason to be worried about it, but he's not dying for some map because he's the one who funded the expedition.
Yeah.
But I like how Jimbo's like, you want the map? You're taking me too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's like, well, take them all.
They follow the map to seemingly a dead end. Which and then the map just kind of like locks itself, and they can't get it open again. So the others just start trying to like dig because Jim figures out the treasure is at the heart of the planet, and they also find that the map is also a key to like a door that opens like a gate to different locations, which explains how. So Flint, the pirate whose treasure they're trying to get, which is Treasure Planets. Which is the treasure planet. He was known to be able to just appear and disappear without a trace.
That was it.
All over the place, and that is because of this door on Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
and so they figure that out, which is cool. Sorry. Pause for a
I was
second.
going to say, I like how as well he's like, you better get to it, Jimbo. And then they're all like, the crew are like, let's kill him, yeah, let's get him. And then he's sort of like trying to stand in front of him, but he's a bit like conflicted. And then we see that the treasure is at the center of the planet. And now, to be honest, considering it's called Treasure Planet, not Treasure Core of the Planet, but that title would be too much of a mouthful. I feel like Treasure Planet itself is a little bit dead
underwhelming,
but it makes sense for It makes sense for Captain Flint to not have a planet full of treasure because he wanted to keep the treasure for himself. And let's be realistic, he's not going to be able to get enough treasure to fill up an entire planet. And it would have been boring.
Apparently, has enough. He found enough treasure to make the core of the planet.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to a certain degree. But anyway, like it would have been boring if they just landed on the planet and all the treasure's there. Well, this builds up to it more in the story. You know, it builds up to things.
Also, Flint, just being an absolute mad lad, fucking rigged his treasure with a trap in case anyone found it.
Yeah, he's
fucking
just
mad lad.
Even though he died, I'm guessing quite miserable and alone as he was just sitting there.
He just sat there surrounded by his treasure while his body like decayed. Yeah,
he didn't do anything with the treasure. He didn't go on any fancy holidays or visit anywhere. He just sat there, crazy.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I like how as well Jimbo's still quite annoyed at John Silver in this. They're not mates yet. But then when Jimbo nearly dies, Silver has to choose between the treasure or Jimbo.
Okay, we need to back up slightly to like explain this bit. All right, so they find the center of the planet using the door, and they go in only to realize it's trapped.
Yeah.
And while they're there, they find like Flint's ship is like in there among the treasure, and they get on it to find like the remains of Captain Flint there, just sitting alone on his throne. And in his hand, they spot Ben's like memory circuit. So Jim takes it and puts it back in Ben, which gives Ben his memories back.
Yeah.
At which point Ben then reveals that, oh right, Flint rigged this place with a trap. That basically, if anyone found his treasure, was going to rig the core of the planet to blow up. So then the core of the planet basically starts falling apart and everything. And during this, like the treasure is being lost as well. Like it's being like just falling into like molten metal and shit. While they're doing that, Silver notices Jim trying to hotwire Flint's ship so they can get out of there.
Yeah.
Because the ship still has some treasure on it. Actually, a fair bit of treasure on it. So Silver gets aboard the ship, and a small confrontation between Jim and Silver occurs there, which leads to the ship is basically at risk of being destroyed by one of the things that's collapsing the core. But Silver's trying to like pull it back so it doesn't get destroyed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, during the like bit there, Jim is hanging on for dear life as well off a ledge, and the thing he's hanging onto is slowly retracting back inwards.
Yeah.
So he basically he's on a timer. And Silver is put in this dilemma between the treasure he's like obsessed about for all these years, or Jim, the kid he's basically formed a father-son bond with. And Silver makes the choice to save Jim and lets the ship and treasure go.
Yeah. What an arc.
And it's like, it's only a lifelong obsession, boy. I'll get over it.
Yeah. Legend.
Yeah. And this is what brings up... So remember I mentioned there was something interesting about the villain of Atlantis and John Silver, who's the villain of Treasure Planet. Rourke prioritized profit over people. Silver prioritized people over profit at the end.
Yeah, man.
With Jim. Because at the beginning of the movie, the two are very much like both want their like treasure or profit. But the choice at the end of the movie is like where the two definitely differ as villains.
Yeah.
Because Rourke throws his whole team under the bus to try and get the money. Whereas Silver like chose to save Jim over the treasure.
Yeah.
So it's just something like I wanted to just point out there because I thought that was cool between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave us like a slight connecting thing considering we're reviewing both movies.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I like how, and this happens a lot in life. Sometimes we don't get the exact thing that we want and we have to choose something more important, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what Silver chose, something more important. He chose to save Jimbo, who hopefully went on to do some great things in the Space Academy and explore the universe and made some good discoveries and help people and whatever. But yeah, I was going to say, I know I skipped forward a bit, but I like the sequence where Jimbo, a 15-year-old kid, is going to have to go on his hoverboard and try and get in front of the boat to change the planet flickerer so they get out into space instead of getting blown up.
Which I do like that which is a callback to the beginning of the movie where they showed he's actually really good on a hoverboard.
Yeah,
and they bring it back for him to have to use it to try and like save them from the exploding planet. By, as you said, he flies in front of the ship to try and change the door back to like the spaceport.
Yeah, that was a very good
to get away from the explosion. Which again, that's clever. Like, establish something at the beginning, use it for the climax. It's a classic Chekhov's gun. If you know that term.
I think I've heard of it before, but I didn't know exactly what it meant.
Basically, it's if you show something, you have to use it. So, for example, if you show like in the first act a person has a gun under the counter, it has to be used by the third act.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
Yeah, that's Chekhov's gun. Named such because I believe that was the actual like scenario it was used.
Yeah.
Was, I believe, like a gun was revealed in a movie that belonged to a character named Chekhov, and then it was used in for the finale.
I wonder if that was Chekhov from Star Trek.
Possibly. Yeah, but that's where the term Chekhov's gun comes from, where it basically is. It's a standard writing tool that a lot of writers seem to miss these days. Of if you reveal something, it has to be used. Like, don't just reveal stuff and then don't do anything with it.
Yeah. Oh, it's not from Star Trek. It's from some geezer from like the 1800s.
Yeah, that checks.
That checks Chekhov.
Yeah.
But yeah, we. Oh yeah, I was just going to quickly discuss the final scene where they're going to escape Silver and Morph, and he says, Jimbo, I was merely trying to check to make sure that our last longboat was safe and secure.
Yeah.
And then he fixes a longboat, and he's like, that should hold it. So
and then it's just like, I taught you too well.
He says, We just as soon be avoiding prison. Little Martha here is a free spirit being in a cage to break his heart. And then Jimbo says, all right, then give him to me. And then he just, John Silver gets killed and executed. Bit of a sad ending, but
that's not actually what happened. I'm just making a joke.
Okay, so what actually happens is,
Jim undoes the rope so they can take the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
While he's saying goodbye to like Silver and Morph, Silver tells I think he says, Morphe, I've got a job for you. I need you to keep an eye on this little pup. Like referring to Jim. Basically, he tells Morph to stay with Jim.
Yeah.
And then Silver takes the boat and leaves. He also gives Jim a few bits of the treasure he managed to salvage so they can rebuild the pub that he destroyed in the beginning.
And I like the bit when he says before, "Well, look at you, glowing like a solar flare. You're something special, Jim.
Yeah.
You're gonna rattle the stars." That was really he rarely gets emotional in the film, so to hear him start croaking his voice, that is really that hits hard.
Yeah. I think Treasure Planet's a good movie, but I think a lot of that does come from Jim and Silver's relationship.
Yeah,
it's definitely the crux of the movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that relationship wasn't there, I don't think Treasure Planet would be as good as it is.
Very true.
Visually, it's still beautiful, and the story is okay. Because I said it's basically just Treasure Planet. It's Treasure Island in space.
Yeah.
But the way they handle Silver and Jim's relationship is so good.
For sure.
Now, there is something like that in the Treasure Island story as well, with like John Silver and the main character forming a bond.
Yeah, he's a lot younger though, isn't he?
Yeah. But I think it is slightly different. But yeah, no, but I do feel like the bond between those two is definitely like where the movie gets its main emotional payoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that is the strength of the film. That's what makes it underrated and great. And I guess in some aspects it is a bit of a shame because we don't get focus on any of the other characters. But what makes the film great is Jim's and John Silver's dynamic with each other.
Let's be real. Most of the supporting cast are kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's the opposite of Atlantis, where the supporting cast are actually some of the weakest elements of the movie.
So I suppose
the emotional height is there.
You had no choice but to focus on Silver and Jim, I guess. Yeah. And that image of Silver in the stars at the end. I mean, it looks kind of nice, but it looks a bit like the cursed Shrek moon. Or no, it's a cursed Zelda moon. That's it. The Zelda moon.
Speaking of fucking cursed Shrek.
Oh, yeah, we should. Actually, I think I've got a couple of little topics. That should be one of them, actually, next after we complete after we talk about this review. But I just want to quickly give my rating. And then obviously you can say what your overview of the film. But I just want to say, great film, mostly carried by John and Jim's dynamic between each other. Great action, beautifully animated, as Scott mentioned. I'll give it, and the story is all right. But it's mostly their dynamic and the scenes that they share together and like the power and the emotion. And I like as well how the thing with his dad never gets resolved. I was worried he's going to meet his dad on Treasure Planet or something, but no, it never gets resolved.
I'm glad they didn't actually reveal his dad or like bring his dad back into the fold. Yeah, I feel like that would have been a bit of a cop out to try and do that.
Yeah, 100%. It's just showing that this thing is such a difficult, sad thing that Jim had to go through, and that's that. His dad was a bit of a douche, and it's a bit refreshing because most Disney parents, unfortunately, they pass away, didn't they?
Disney is known to kill off the parents of their characters.
I mean,
it's very rare we get one where the parents straight up just abandon the kid.
Yeah. I mean, like Chicken Little, his mom passed away,
and his dad's one of the worst dads in animated history.
Yeah. We'll get to him down the line.
Oh, trust me, he's gonna get we're gonna eventually we'll review Chicken Little, and we are gonna tear the fuck into him.
Buck the cook.
In fact, he's the main reason we want to review Chicken Little, specifically to shit on that guy.
Because the story of that film is pretty bad, but he drags it down. He drags the film down.
Chicken Little is nothing special or nothing to write home about, but his dad and actually just the general town, but especially his dad, definitely lower its score even more.
Yeah.
Like the general town as a whole in Chicken Little are pretty awful. But yeah, no, none of them hold a fucking candle to Chicken Little's own dad.
Man.
for just messing up everything.
I'll just quickly wrap up my end briefly. The music, people complain about the music and say it doesn't suit it. I personally don't mind. I think it's quite emotional when you're seeing Jim's dad go off. If it had a pirate shanty tune going, "Harm me hearties, harm me," it probably wouldn't have suited it that well. It was an early 2000s song, which is meant to make people feel sad. And
I think I'm Still Here definitely fits the scene where like it shows like Silver bonding with Jim.
Yeah, exactly. It fits the scene. It might not fit the universe, but it fits the scene. So I like the scene. Yeah. I thought it was quite powerful. But yeah, I was just going to say a few more examples. Milo, both his parents passed away, and his granddad. What's his name? Lewis from Meet the Robinsons. He was put for adoption, so no one knows where his parents are.
But we'll get to Meet the Robinsons later as well.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah, another underrated one. But Simba, he lost his dad, obviously, which is quite sad.
Yeah, thanks to Scar.
Yeah, amazing villain. Maybe The Lion King would be another decent one to talk about.
Yeah, then we can talk about how fucking Mufasa has destroyed the lore.
Oh, I don't like watching the live action stuff.
I've tapped out of a lot of Disney's live action stuff because they're very soulless and they just destroy the stories that we grew up with and enjoyed as kids. But
yeah, I guess if you could tell me after the podcast about the issues with Mufasa, that would be cool to know. They should have done it years ago. I would have liked to Mufasa prequel. But
I feel like if it was animated and they did it after the success of Lion King, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, I would have preferred.
They did it nowadays, and it's based on the live action Lion King.
Ooh, yeah, I would have preferred. What's it called? I would have preferred James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons talking as like young lions instead of like what we ended up having, which was some live action film. And we also had a prequel with Timon and Pumbaa, which was decent fun, but like I would have preferred a Mufasa story. We didn't get a lot of Mufasa in the first film.
Oh yeah, Lion King 1.5 or Lion King 3. That movie is basically just here's some more shenanigans with Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah. But I'll just quickly say I'll say Treasure Planet is great, mostly carried by John and Jim's dynamic and relationship.
Yeah,
8.5 out of 10. Very great film.
I agree to that. My score for Atlantis, I don't think I gave my score for Atlantis. I would say I give Atlantis a 8 to 7.5. It's good. Like I said, it's got some good visuals. The story is alright. The cast of characters are cool. Obviously, there's a few elements here and there, but it's still definitely a lost gem that I think deserved a lot more than it got.
Mm-hmm.
As for Treasure Planet, I would give that a solid 8, maybe 8.5, because again, like visually, Treasure Planet is really good. The story is okay. It's like it's Treasure Island. The side supporting cast are kind of weak. And the movie is basically carried by Jim and John's relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I didn't think you rate Treasure Planet higher than Atlantis. No, but I respect I respect it still. And their relationship.
I grew up a lot with Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
and I realized.
Yeah,
both of them are still really good movies in my eyes, and they're definitely both better than some of the schlock Disney's been throwing out recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a lot of the reason Treasure Planet didn't do as well is actually Disney sabotaged their own movie, if you know the story behind that.
Madness.
Alright, so I may have a few details wrong, so do bear with me. People watching this. So I may have a few details wrong, but if I remember the story correctly, the guy who made Treasure Planet had a thing in his contract where if it succeeded, he'd be allowed to do a sequel or something. It was something along those lines, and Disney didn't really have faith in it, so they deliberately sabotaged their own movie to make it not do well, so they wouldn't have to uphold this end of the contract. So, for example, if you look at the trailers for Treasure Planet, it makes it look like the most generic movie ever. Like the trailers actively destroyed any chance the movie had at getting its progress at the time, because the trailers literally for one, the trailers focus on Ben and Jim, and occasionally mention Morph.
Oh, that's
and
daft.
they only briefly mentioned John Silver.
Right, so what? Sorry, I sort of zoned out a bit. So what's the exact? What was the thing in the contract that they were trying to avoid?
Basically, if the movie was succeeded, the guy would be allowed to direct a sequel or something. It was
Oh,
something like
and what
basically
did they just not
if
like
the
it?
movie succeeded, he'd be allowed to direct something else. And Disney didn't have faith in the movie to start with,
Mm-hmm.
so they deliberately sabotaged it just in case, so they didn't have to
That's
uphold this end of
annoying.
the contract.
That's very annoying.
But yeah, because like I said, for one, even though Ben only shows up in the last third of the movie, he was one of the prominent characters in the trailers.
That's crazy. How
Like,
can the Disney execs be that bitter though? That's pathetic. Like you got a good director on your hands. What's the problem?
yeah. So so with Treasure Planet, Disney literally sabotaged their own movie because they
Absolutely
didn't
makes
have faith in
cases.
it and they didn't want to uphold the contract they made with the director.
And look at the terrible sequels they've made. I mean, what is that? I don't even understand them.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, imagine, like, I can imagine what we would have gotten for a Treasure Planet sequel.
Yeah, I mean,
That would have been cool.
I would have liked it if maybe they focused on Jimbo in the Space Academy and not had John Silver in it to make their goodbye quite powerful. Maybe you could have,
Yeah,
if the sequel had done well, maybe have him in a third film. But I think the second film should have just been about Jimbo in the Space Academy
yeah,
or something.
definitely. But yeah. So Disney kind of sabotaged Treasure Planet there. Atlantis just didn't do well, but I think
Yeah.
it definitely deserves way more praise than it fucking got.
I think with Atlantis, it was just that it couldn't balance if it was for adults or kids. That's the problem. And let's be real,
Yeah, it couldn't
unfortunately.
decide which band it wanted to be for.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as much as like the film buffs and the YouTube people and the people who enjoy like film and animation, like myself and you, there aren't really that many people who I know have actually watched Atlantis. I've tried to tell loads of adults watch Atlantis. You've got Disney Plus, watch Atlantis. They've all just said, "Oh, it's animated. I can't be arsed. I'd rather watch live
There
action."
is a shocking number of people who write off animation as a style completely.
Yeah,
Like
it's
with
mad.
the live action How to Train Your Dragon that's coming, you've legit got people being like, "Oh, I can finally watch the movie now that it's live action."
Yeah,
And you even have one of the directors to the live action How to Train Your Dragon saying, like, the animated movie was just the blueprint for this, the superior version.
yeah.
It's like, bro, one, that's how you turn the fan base against you when you mock the original in such a way.
Mm-hmm.
And true, why are you shitting on animation so much by saying that live action is the superior medium now? When
Yeah.
there's certain expressions and shit you can't mimic in live action that you can do in animation.
And with animation as well, you can make the world a lot bigger. It would have been so much harder to do like a live action House Train Dragon in 2010. The CG wouldn't have aged well. Well, the 3D animation has aged
Also,
very
it feels
well.
like CGI is evolving backwards because look at Davy Jones' CGI from Pirates 2 and 3. That has aged so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at modern day CGI and it's like, the fuck happened? I thought we were supposed to be advancing, not going backwards.
Yeah, I think it's because they did a lot of practical stuff on parts of the Caribbean with the ship, so they could focus on his face and his movements, and same with the crew.
Yeah.
It's like Lord of the Rings. The CGI in Lord of the Rings looks great because they didn't have an over reliance on it, but like the CGI in The Hobbit's crap. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
I think it's a case of over reliance on CGI and not giving it the proper time to evolve.
Yeah, they just want to cut corners and make as much money as they can in the easiest way possible.
Which is you would think companies would wake up that, oh, if you want money, make a decent product and people will give you money.
Yeah,
I mean look at Capcom have been winning because their go-to strategy, like recently, like in like gaming, like they've had just a series of hits the past something years. Capcom have of like just a series of hits of games, and their secret to why that is literally we just make a game the fans actually enjoy or make a good game. And it's like, surprisingly, when you make something the fans actually enjoy and make just generally a good product, people will buy it. Who would have thought?
Yeah. You do wish that more film companies and companies would do it in general, but I think they're just after quick cash, even though they would make more cash if they put effort into what they did.
I mean, I say Capcom had a series of wins. There was one loss with the Monster Hunter movie, but a lot of that, there's a reason behind that one, and part of it is on the director.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know much about that.
No, I'm not. I'm not really familiar
So
with
the
Monster
person
Hunter.
they got to direct the Monster Hunter movie he's kind of notorious in the gaming scene as he does a lot of like movies based off like games. Like he's the guy who did the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
He also did Silent Hill and stuff.
they're hard to pull
And
off in live action.
he's notorious for not actually playing the games of which he's making the movie off of, and just completely disregarding the lore and history of the game and just writing his own shit. Normally involving putting his wife in there as an OC. That's just the most bland character ever. And also, like, basically, he relies on the name of the IP to sell the movie because the actual rest of it is not great.
Yeah,
Like, the acting is poor. The fact that like he clearly disregards the lore and history behind the game he's making the movie of and just goes for whatever. And the fact that like his wife is always cast as the lead, and she can't act. I'm gonna be real.
why would you?
Like,
You shouldn't have your family, or like you shouldn't have your spouse or your family in
like
it. You should. It's a conflict
his
of
wife is
interest, isn't
always cast as the lead. She can't really act too well. Nothing like I guess it's just, she can't act. She's very wooden, and she's always like an original character that's like in the Resident Evil movies. She's an original new character for those movies, and she's ridiculously overpowered for no fucking reason.
it?
For example, in Resident Evil, there's not really a huge amount of stuff done with psychic stuff. There's
Yeah.
a hive mind based stuff with the mold in 7 and 8, but they established that because it's a fungus and fungus operate like a hive mind,
Yeah.
right? For some reason, in the Resident Evil movies, Alice, I think she's called, it just has psychic abilities for no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. When I say psychic, it's like she can pick up a truck with her mind and throw it around.
That's a big daft.
And it's like this is Resident Evil, right? Not like what the fuck is this doing here?
Yeah. Do you are you down to move on to the
Yeah. Sorry.
Shrek 5 teaser?
Yeah. Go for it.
So I couldn't believe this was real. So my mate the robot sent me this Shrek teaser. I thought, hold on, is this fan made? What the hell's memes? Do. I thought, what's going on? I thought, what is
Tell
this?
the truth, the
They
Shrek 5
AI'd?
teaser. I was about to say the Shrek 5 teaser looked like it was made by AI.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was some fake made up rubbish, but I thought this is a pretty convincing AI voice acting. Definitely. But then why isn't Darren I realised it was the real thing, and it's like Magic Mirror, who's the fairest of them all? Why Shrek, of course. And then it's like and I'm thinking
It's like it's full of brain rot trash, and it looks horrible. Like it looks like they AI'd it.
But the thing is, the Shrek memes were relevant probably around 2013 to 2016. They've missed the mark by nearly 10 years. What have they been playing at?
I know, right?
They should have done this for like the
And the thing is, like, because Shrek as a series has a really strong like emotional core to it.
Yeah.
Past like the comedy. There's obviously a big part of Shrek 1 is like poking fun at Disney. But there's a genuine, like, good, like, emotional core there.
Definitely. But yeah, it doesn't mean the film's going to be trash, but I don't think...
I haven't got faith currently, but it's only a teaser. It could improve. But but the teaser has definitely not helped its case.
I think the film will be okay. I just don't get why the animation's changed so drastically, because Puss in Boots was saying to Far, Far Away, and in Puss 2 he looks he looks fairly similar to how he did in the Shrek series, so why do all the characters look like they've been illuminations?
I guess it's just the DreamWorks curse of they create absolute shit or they create a masterpiece. There's no in between.
Yeah. But there's been
That's
lot more
just the
poo.
DreamWorks curse.
There's been a lot more poo than masterpieces recently, though.
Yeah, I heard the robot one was good. I never got a chance to see it though.
Yeah, was it some like to be fair, as much as I said people from work tell me, oh, I'm not going to watch this animation, one of my mates did actually watch the robot film, the new like nature robot film.
Yeah, I did hear that was quite good.
He said, well, he actually found it quite boring, but it's not his sort of film. But he still gave it a go. He said it was okay. And then this other dude there went, no, I thought it was fantastic. And this is another person who isn't bothered about animation. So it's interesting to know that both those dudes actually gave this a chance.
Yeah, it's cool to hear. So we've got that, and we've got Last Wish, which I guess were DreamWorks like good movies, so they have to balance it out by making absolute
crap.
shit. What's up?
Am I still? Sorry, on my phone, my Wi-Fi's gone off, but on my computer, the Wi-Fi's still there.
Yeah, it looks like you're still alive.
I'm just trying to wait for see what's happening now. I don't know what's happened, man. Could you maybe check on your end if I'm still live or?
No, so I mean you're still live for me.
Oh,
You are going a bit robotic, and now your camera has frozen. So I think your internet is starting to play up. Yeah, you're just frozen now, and I can't hear you. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, I think his internet went out. Which means I imagine the live stream I don't know if the live stream is still up or if it's gonna like go down in a second. We'll have to wait and see.
hello, I'm back. Thank goodness.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. The internet did just completely turn off. So, if you did hold the fort down well, you waited. So thank you for waiting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the stream had continued or not, so I thought I'd just hold on a bit and wait till you get back.
Fair enough. Yeah, fortunately, it looks like it has continued. It's still saying 1 hour 53. So
Okay.
about that. So yeah, we talked about the Shrek 5 teaser and DreamWorks' Madness. I mean, it's remote. There isn't really many that good modern animated films apart from that robot one you mentioned, and I'm guessing Japan probably have some sick anime films out. But like, there's not really. I mean,
when it comes to anime stuff, always trust like Japan to have something nice.
yeah,
They're very good at that front.
And I'm guessing in Japan it isn't just like one studio. I'm guessing there's loads of different
There's
studios.
multiple studios, yeah.
Well, in America, because that's where most of the animation comes from. It just seems like Western animation. It just seems like it's just dominated by like 3D animation, and it's like most companies are bought out by Disney now, and it's all just relying on making it all nice and lovely, and all trying to just make too much of a friendly, boring film just to appease. I'm not saying every film, because I know you mentioned. I'm not saying like every modern film is daft and silly and trying to just appeal to people and all that jazz and be nice and lovely and friendly, but I don't know, man. Like with modern films and stuff. I know we talk about this sometimes. How they got to make some modern films woke and stuff. Like at the end of the day, Atlantis that had a diverse group of people in it, and that was bloody amazing. So
yeah.
You just need to make people interesting, man. Like if they had just made like Milo an idiot and
going on to the woke topic real quick, I'm just gonna say it. Because I know this is a discussion we've had a few times. Well, like the inclusivity in that itself is not the problem. It's how it's being handled that's the problem.
Yeah. Thing is, films have been there've been a fair few inclusive films, like for years, like Atlantis, Star Wars, kind of to a degree. The original Star Wars, it wasn't that diverse, but there's a fair few, like a good group of people in there. I don't think about it too much. I just like the films, you know what I'm saying? But like, my point is, Atlantis, they weren't thinking about like appeasing people. They were just like thinking, let's just make something good, and they made something pretty damn good.
Yeah, the problem is now without you got like BlackRock who are like trying to like fucking be a stockholder and everything. Who like basically they want you to prioritize the inclusivity over other aspects, and so to appease them, you kind of have to throw it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got some that like are doing it as like an excuse to like cut out on other things, because if people don't like it, they can resort to, oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a sexist, all that. If you don't like the thing they put out, so they kind of use it as a crutch to try and like avoid backlash. It's like, oh, we can cut the costs on the story and the characters and just write some shit. If we had just a little bit of inclusivity, we have a safety net to rely on in the event it doesn't do well. We can just throw it out there. Oh, if you don't like it, you're clearly this. Yeah. Even though if you listen to people's complaints, only a handful talk about the inclusivity as the actual problem.
Yeah, most of the problems are the story, but it can be led to...
the story and the characters. Like, no one wants to watch a movie about a person who is not likable and has no, like... no personality or the personality they do have is just terrible and not likable. And no one wants to watch a movie where the person doesn't grow or advance as an individual.
Or doesn't come across adversities and just wins all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to watch that. Like, I'm going to use the live-action Mulan to the animated Mulan here. Animated Mulan is one of my favorite like movies, and it has probably one of the strongest female leads even today. And you know why? It's because Mulan isn't flawless from the start. Like, she has to work really hard, and she works insanely hard to get where she is, and she has to overcome a lot of obstacles to get there. And yeah. Whereas the live-action Mulan, she's a gifted warrior from birth who has, like, superpowers.
That's a bit daft, isn't it?
Yeah, like, basically, they bring up in the live-action Mulan that chi is a thing, which basically makes you superhuman. And she, at birth, just had an ungodly level of it. That she's effectively a superhuman from birth with absolutely no struggle.
That's very annoying.
And her main journey across the movie is to just embrace that she's a badass all along.
Daft.
When it's like, how is that an obstacle to fucking overcome when you're not even being the obstacle yourself. Like, if the obstacle is like overcoming something that you yourself are doing, you yourself need to actually be that obstacle first.
Yeah.
Like, don't just have the journey being, oh, they just got to embrace that they're a badass from the start. It's like, no, that's boring. No one wants that.
Mm-hmm.
Show them actually struggling with shit. Like, show them growing as a character and a person.
Yeah, I think also people are too scared to jump out on a limb and take risks. It's like with the animation industry, they wouldn't do the things they did in Atlantis. Even in Treasure Planet, all the people that got killed off, they wouldn't do stuff like that. You know, yeah, I just feel like they're not taking the risks anymore. And when it comes to like normal films, cinema tickets cost too much, so I don't bother watching them now. Most of the time, I'm just watching older films that I've never seen.
Yeah, cinemas are too expensive nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, 13 quid. No, sorry, 14 quid a ticket. And one of my mates, well, you know, George, he says, he's been on the podcast a fair bit, and he said, just get the club card, for goodness sake, you moron. And it's like, yeah, but why would I pay £14 a month for something that I'm probably going to use 2 or 3 times? I'd rather just save the money and just watch older films that I'll get enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get why. But you know what's interesting in Cardiff? This was a few years ago now. But when the prices first started going up, one of my mates who works for the BBC, he basically got this Meerkat Movies deal where he gets it's £2.50 a ticket, and it was still, and I think it was around £12 at the time, like in England. So it's mad, really, when you think about it. Like in Wales, in Cardiff, he was able to get it for £2.50, and we're paying loads more. But to be honest, I only want to see films that are very, very cool. If it's something I'm not bothered about, I'm not going to waste like 14 quid when I can just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus 2 months later, you know?
Yeah. Nowadays, if you want people to go see your movie, it has to be something worth seeing.
Definitely. Not like the 10th Terminator film or the 7 millionth Star Wars film.
Yeah. Still, like, again, we could rant on about most of these things at various points.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of, like, how long do we want to, like, build to that?
I guess we could save it for another time. To be honest, the next podcast we do, Hunchback and Hercules, I want to try and watch them fairly soon. Maybe we could do it, I don't know, like next month or in a month and a half time. I don't know, it depends. Because I'm watching loads of films now. I've sort of lost interest in TV. I just like watching movies now. It's probably just a phase I'm going through. Maybe I'll get back to watching TV. The only show I watch is like regular show. That's about it. Everything else, I'm like just...
Yeah, there's a handful of cartoons that I actually would recommend being quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I struggle with TV shows apart from regular show now. I watch some stuff here and there, but I just like watching films and all these interesting stories. But I'll probably get back into TV eventually. It's probably just a phase I'm going through, you know.
Yeah.
Or I'll be able to balance both of them at some point. But I guess we've been going for 2 hours, so we can nicely wrap up there. Any final messages or thoughts? Or...
I haven't really got much final messages. Other than thanks for having me on the podcast to talk about like some movies that I like.
No problem, man.
Always appreciated.
The quality input as always.
Yeah. And thank you to you watching for letting me ramble.
Yeah, and honestly, we haven't had many commenters apart from George trying to be edgy occasionally. So big thanks to Sniper Air for showing up and contributing to the stream. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's always good when you got people like interacting and like joining us.
Yeah, for sure. Because, bro, okay, I'm not going to go on too much. Actually, sorry, there was 2 more things I wanted to bring up. Sorry about this. On Twitch, the only random commenters I get are like bloody people self-promoting or like bots. That's it.
Yeah, there is a bit of a problem with that. Yeah,
it's so frustrating, man. When the bots I can just get rid of, but like, you know, when you think someone's like interested in your content and you're like, they're talking about the game you're playing and all this stuff, and then they just say, "Oh, but you might need a channel art designer." And,
I get those. I get those as well, and they're so annoying. It's like
it's so disappointing.
If I want a channel artist to do like stuff, I would go find one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna just like use the random one that like happens to pop into my chat.
Yeah.
So basically, that makes me not want to interact with you more.
Exactly. And then the final
thing is, it's a common like Twitch etiquette that just gets broken.
Yeah, it's
It's like
frustrating.
it's a common rule on Twitch that you don't go into someone else's stream and advertise yourself. That's just rude.
Definitely.
But that happens a lot.
Yeah, frustrating, man. And then the final thing that I wanted to bring up, what do you think about the whole 100-hour storage nonsense? As you're a streamer and you stream quite a bit.
Oh right, we're going. I think okay. I think so. Twitch said the whole like 100-hour highlight thing would only affect 0.5% of their users. I think that is bollocks. Oh, I see James's DC. Oh, all right, we'll wait.
Oh no, I'm still here. I
You're
was
still
just
here.
giving
Oh,
you the
okay,
full
sorry.
screen, like I can.
Oh,
Full
right,
screen
I get you
myself.
now. I get it. Okay, right. I think that's bollocks because for example, that affects the entire speedrunning community on Twitch. All of them upload every single run as a highlight. So, and I wonder if in their statistics, were they using actual people that stream, or were they also counting the people who have a Twitch account but don't stream? I think it's that one because there's no way this only affects 0.5% of their fucking users.
Yeah, they're just trying to bloody like corporate their way out of it to sound like all happy chappy.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, so there's that, which is being a bit of a pain. But also, I don't think they've given people enough time.
Yeah, like till April, that's rubbish. They should give you at least a year for this sort of change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can just quickly say what I think as well. Yeah, it's just sad, really. I mean, I should be able to upload all my content, but imagine if you're someone who's been streaming since the platform has been out, and I think that was 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
You've been streaming since then. Imagine you highlight all your streams, and now you've got to run around clambering together, trying to upload as much as you can. It's just sad. It's like some of your streams, Scott. You haven't been streaming since 2014, but I think you've been streaming since 2020, haven't you? And
yeah, I've been streaming since 2020, and I've got a lot of hours in streams that I now have to try and upload, and not a lot of time to do it.
And some of my favourites of yours have been lost to history. Obviously, you're going to replay Undertale, but the Crash Bandicoot ones and the SpongeBob.
Yeah, I've had to preemptively delete some just to make sure I can actually get the ones I want to save.
And the SpongeBob
and
ones.
It is a shame that I've had to do that, but it's just the road that it's gone.
Lost to history, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch are just daft, aren't they? And I feel like I like how more streamers are moving to YouTube now, like multi-platform streaming to try and sort of stick it to Twitch a bit. Like Shifty's doing that.
Indeed.
And it's a shame because all they're doing is alienating their audience. All they're doing is saying, yeah, we basically shot you in the foot and you might stream elsewhere now. You might stream on YouTube instead or somewhere else. Or who cares? Who's bothered? We got the money. Loads of money. That's all they're bothered about. But as soon as it starts hitting their bank accounts, they will probably reconsider or try and make a positive change instead.
Yeah.
Problem is, I think, like, because you mentioned the game industry and the whales and stuff, I think Twitch has a lot of whales, man, because you know these YouTubers that stream, like their audience, they want to like interact with them in some way. So like the Minecraft community, like Tommy Innes and Tubbo, like you see their streams and they get loads of viewers, and they were originally YouTubers, you know. So
yeah,
you're always going to have the whales who want to interact with the content creators and comment on the stuff and donate and have the TTSs played. So you're just going to have the whales still, but hopefully something significant does change eventually. But we'll just have to see. All you can control is you can only control what you can control. You can't control external things that Twitch do. So just do your best. Just, I guess, maybe stream elsewhere or just try and roll with it and preserve as much content as you can. That's sort of my take on it.
Yeah, same. But it's a shitty situation, but it's the one we're dealing with, unfortunately.
For sure. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. And this is, hold on, I've just got to check something. This might be the longest podcast we've done on the Banterous Hour so far. I'm just going to get all the episodes up quickly, which is stretching it out a bit longer. But I'll just quickly check. And I was obviously disconnected for about a few minutes. That's the good thing about StreamYard compared to like OBS and Streamlabs OBS. Granted, those ones have a lot more customization, but at least this doesn't like completely turn off if you disconnect. Like I was disconnected for like 5 minutes, and it's the stream still up, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But where are we? 1 hour 14, 1 hour 58, 1 hour 46, 2 hours and 1 hour. Yeah, so now this is the longest one. Brilliant. The only other one that was nearly as long was the intro, the first episode. So, longest podcast, baby.
Let's go.
But yeah, we'll leave it there then.
Yep.
Thank you for watching.
Yep.
Oh yeah, check out Scott on Twitch, Blue Falcon 375. Yeah.
Yep.
Right then.
Yeah, thank you for the promotion.
No worries, sir. All right then. All the best then. Take care. See you all later. All I've got to say for today. Peace.
Bye.